$20,000 isn't much for you. You'll upgrade me. That was the first line in the text from my brother's son. Then another ping, a smug follow-up. Come on, you owe us. Family first, right? I sat there staring at my phone, the glow of the screen burning into my eyes in the dim kitchen light. Funny how people who never check in, never ask how you're holding up, suddenly remember your number when they want money. HY everyone. My name is Elena Ray, I'm 28. And tonight I'm telling you how one message ripped the last string I'd been holding on to. Tell me this, why is it that family feels entitled to your veins, your savings, even your bones, as if love means servitude? I didn't respond right away. My tea had gone cold on the counter. Outside, the rain pressed against the window in heavy, uneven bursts, like the house itself was listening in on the audacity. Then came another message, this time from my brother himself. Agree, or you're banned from family events. Don't test me. The words didn't sting, they scorched. Because this wasn't about a car. It was about control. About years of subtle digs, quiet manipulations, and unspoken debts I never signed up for. And now, it was typed out plain, my seat at the table, my place in the so-called family, could be bought or revoked. I gripped the phone so tightly it trembled in my palm. My reflection in the black microwave door looked back at me, eyes wide, mouth thin, jaw tight. Some part of me wanted to laugh. Another part wanted to scream. But I did neither. Instead, I sat in silence, tasting the metallic edge of betrayal on my tongue. And then I remembered something they had forgotten, the account transfer I'd arranged just days ago. The very payment they were counting on for that shiny new car. A detail they assumed I wouldn't dare touch. The clock ticked. The fridge hummed. The storm outside swelled, pushing against the glass as if urging me forward. I slid my finger across the phone, opened the banking app, and hovered over the reversal option. The numbers blinked on the screen like they were daring me. And with one breath, one quiet exhale, I pressed it. Some decisions don't come with fireworks. Just silence, and the feeling of the floor tilting beneath you as power shifts. By the time dawn cracked, something told me they'd feel it too. The storm wasn't outside anymore. It was inside their garage, where the car they thought was theirs had just slipped away. The first vibration rattled across my nightstand at 7:22 a.m. My brother's name flashed on the screen. I didn't answer. 30 seconds later, a voicemail. Then another. Then a flood of messages. Call me back right now. This isn't funny. They're saying the transfer bounced. What did you do? I sat propped against my pillows, hair still tangled from sleep, watching the notifications stack like falling dominoes. My chest should have been tight, but instead, I felt steady. I walked into the kitchen, made myself coffee, and let the steam curl around my face. Outside, the storm had broken into a pale gray calm, as if the sky itself was holding its breath. Another buzz. This time, his wife. Her tone had always been sharp, but now it dripped with panic. Elena, fix this. You don't know what kind of mess you've made. The dealership is holding the car until the funds clear. Do you want us humiliated? Humiliated. The word made me pause. It wasn't about losing the car. It was about how they looked to the world, their spotless image of being untouchable, successful, in control. And I had just cracked it. I remembered every holiday dinner where I was the invisible one, every time my ideas were brushed aside, every time my worth was measured against how useful I could be to them. All those years of being the quiet one, the one they assumed wouldn't push back. And now? My silence had teeth. By 8 a.m., my phone was lit up like a Christmas tree. Missed calls. Voicemails. Desperate texts. Even the nephew who'd started this, his cocky tone replaced with jittery desperation. Aunt Elena, please. Don't ruin this for me. I already told my friends the car's mine. I sipped my coffee slowly. The bitterness bit my tongue, but the taste was sweet with something I hadn't felt in years, control. At 8:14, my brother called again. I let it ring until the last second, then swiped to answer. Elena, his voice cracked, the arrogance stripped away. Please. Don't do this to us. I didn't speak. Just listened to the silence stretching, heavy, suffocating. And then, with the calmest voice I'd ever found, I said, "You told me I was banned from family events, remember? Maybe this is just me, honoring that ban. The line went dead. But for once, I wasn't the one left shaken. By mid-morning, the quiet turned into chaos. I sat at my small desk by the window, laptop open, pretending to answer work emails. But really, I was listening to the stream of messages pouring in. My brother's voice cracked across every voicemail, his wife's tone shifting from fury to begging, and my nephew's texts dropping into a spiral of shame. Elena, the dealership won't release the car. They said the bank flagged it. You don't understand, they'll blacklist us. Blacklist. Humiliation. Panic. Words they had never allowed to touch their perfect little castle before. I leaned back in my chair, watching the branches sway in the soft wind outside. The storm was gone, but its echo lived inside me, pulsing with a rhythm I couldn't ignore. By 9 a.m., my sister-in-law herself showed up at my door. No text. No warning. Just her pounding fist against the wood, shaking it in its frame. Elena. Open this door right now. We can fix this. You can't punish us like this. Punish. As if I'd been sitting here planning revenge. But the truth was simpler. They handed me the blade, and I just set it down where they could see it. I didn't open the door. I let her voice rise, then falter, then break into muffled sobs as she realized I wasn't coming. My neighbor peeked through his blinds across the hall, and for once, I didn't feel embarrassed. Let them see. Let the world watch the mighty stumble. When her footsteps finally faded, my phone buzzed again. This time it was a family group chat, one I had always been more ornament than participant in. My brother had posted. Elena's refusing to help. She reversed the payment. This is betrayal. Betrayal. The word made me laugh bitterly. They had weaponized it against me my entire life. Whenever I said no, whenever I set the smallest boundary. But now? They felt its weight for the first time. I typed slowly, each word deliberate. Betrayal is asking me for $20,000 and threatening to erase me from the family if I don't comply. Don't call it betrayal when I finally choose myself. Then I set the phone down, the message sent. The chat went silent. For once, the silence belonged to me. And that silence, I knew, was only the beginning of their unraveling. They didn't wait long. By noon, my brother's wife sent a single message. Come to Mom's house. Now. We need to talk. It wasn't a request. It was a summons, the same kind I'd been obeying my whole life. But this time, something in me had shifted. Still, curiosity tugged harder than fear, so I drove over, my pulse steady, my hands firm on the wheel. The living room looked staged, like a play. My brother sat stiff on the sofa, arms crossed, jaw tight. His wife perched beside him, red-eyed but still posturing. And my nephew, the golden boy, slouched in the armchair, eyes avoiding mine, phone in hand like a shield. Then my mother appeared from the kitchen. Her eyes flicked toward me with that blend of disappointment and weary expectation I knew too well. Elena, she sighed, families don't tear each other down over money. The irony almost knocked me off my feet. I wanted to remind her how many times they'd measured my worth in dollar signs, how my generosity had been twisted into obligation. But I stayed quiet, letting them speak first. My brother leaned forward, his voice brittle. You embarrassed us. The dealership knows. People will talk. You need to call the bank and fix this. His wife chimed in. Do you want everyone to think you're jealous? Bitter? Because that's exactly how this looks. I scanned their faces, memorizing each crack in the masks they wore. 4 years, they'd looked down at me as the one who'd never measure up. Now, their pride sat in ruins because I'd refused to bankroll it. Finally, I spoke, calm as stone. You told me I was banned from family events. Maybe you should start by respecting your own words. The room went still. My nephew muttered, barely above a whisper, Aunt Elena, please. I already posted the car online. Everyone thinks it's mine. His voice cracked with the same arrogance turned sour that I'd once endured at every family gathering. I looked at him, at all of them, and felt something break free in my chest. For the first time, I wasn't the one on trial here. I stood. No bank call. No fix. You built this house of cards yourselves. Now watch it fall. As I walked out, the silence trailed me, thick as smoke. But behind me, I could hear it, the faintest crumble of their empire. By the next morning, The whispers had already begun. I ran into Mrs. Dorsey, the neighbor who lived 2 houses down from my brother. She leaned in, voice low but eager, as if she were handing me contraband. "Did you hear? The dealership towed a car from their driveway yesterday. Something about a payment reversal. I thought they had everything together." Her words curled through the air like smoke. I didn't need to add fuel, the fire was spreading on its own. At the grocery store, I noticed the sideways glances, the hushed conversations as my sister-in-law passed by with her cart. The flawless image she'd worked so hard to curate was cracking, and every crack was public. By noon, my phone buzzed again, this time from an old cousin I hadn't heard from in months. "Elena, what happened? Your brother's saying you sabotaged him." Sabotaged. Another word twisted into something sinister. But I didn't bother correcting him. Because the truth? They were sabotaged by their own greed, their own arrogance. I just refused to shield them anymore. That evening, my brother finally called. His tone was stripped bare, no bravado, no threats. Just quiet desperation. "Elena, the bank flagged our account. They're questioning our credit. I could lose the dealership contract." I listened. His words trembled, carrying the weight of consequences he had never thought could land on him. For a moment, I almost felt pity. Almost. "You told me I was out of the family," I said slowly. "So why are you asking me to clean up your family's mess?" The line went silent. I could almost hear him swallow, his pride catching in his throat. Then he muttered, "Because you're the only one who can fix this." The irony stung sweet. 4 years, I'd been invisible until they needed me. And now, finally, they needed me more than ever. But I wasn't bending this time. I hung up without a word. The silence afterward didn't feel heavy anymore. It felt like freedom. And for the first time, I realized something. Their power over me had never been real. It had only lived in my compliance. Now that I'd taken it back, the empire they'd built wasn't just shaking, it was collapsing. 2 days later, the summons came again, this time not from my brother, but from my mother. "Elena, come to the church hall tonight. The family needs to talk. Don't embarrass us further." It wasn't a request. It was an order dipped in guilt, the kind she'd used my whole life. And maybe that's why I went, not to obey, but to finally end it. The hall smelled faintly of old wooden polish. The elders were there, seated like a jury, aunts, uncles, even cousins dragged in for spectacle. My brother sat at the center, pale and restless, his wife rigid beside him. "Elena," my uncle began, "you don't have family problems in public. Undo what you did. Restore the payment." My mother chimed in, her voice cracking, "They'll lose everything. Is that what you want?" I stood there, every eye drilling into me, waiting for me to fold. The room pulsed with the same old rhythm, shame, duty, silence. But I didn't fold. "I didn't hear anything," I said, voice steady. "You did, the second you threatened to ban me over money. The second you turned family into ransom." Gasps rippled, whispers sparked like fire. My nephew shifted uncomfortably, his mask of arrogance slipping into panic. For years, I'd been the quiet one. Tonight, my quiet cut sharper than any scream. "I won't restore the payment," I continued. "Not because I want you ruined, but because I won't fund your empire of entitlement anymore." My brother shot up, fists clenched, veins straining. "You're destroying us." I looked straight at him, unblinking. "No," I said softly. "I just stopped letting you destroy me." The silence that followed was suffocating. My mother's eyes filled, not with anger this time, but with something closer to recognition. I turned, walked toward the door, and with each step, I felt the old weight peel off my shoulders. Behind me, their voices tangled into chaos. But ahead, the night air opened like freedom. The fallout came faster than even I imagined. By the weekend, whispers had hardened into facts. The dealership contract my brother bragged about at every holiday dinner? Suspended. Word spread that the payment reversal had flagged deeper issues, missed deadlines, overextended credit. What began as one exposed crack was now a widening fracture. Calls poured into my phone from numbers I didn't recognize. Business partners, distant relatives suddenly concerned. I ignored them all. Let the truth travel without my voice steering it. At the grocery store, I passed a pair of women from church whispering near the produce aisle. Did you hear? The new car fell through. Embarrassing. Thought they were untouchable. They didn't notice me, but I noticed the sting of their words. For once, that sting wasn't mine to carry. My brother finally sent me a message at midnight. You've ruined us. I hope you're proud. Proud wasn't the right word. Relieved was closer. Liberated, even. Because for the first time in years, their chaos wasn't mine to clean. But then came the twist I didn't expect. My mother called. Not to guilt me. Not to scold. Just a trembling voice in the dark. Elena, maybe we've treated you wrong. Maybe, we forgot you're not a bank. You our daughter. Her words cracked something inside me, not forgiveness, not yet, but recognition that my silence had forced them to look in a mirror they'd avoided for years. I didn't respond right away. I let the night hum around me, the weight of her confession lingering like fragile glass in my hand. Because I knew the end wasn't about money, or even revenge. The end would be about truth, the kind that strips everything bare and leaves nothing to hide behind. And I was ready. The final confrontation didn't come in shouts or slammed doors. It came quietly, a week later, when my brother showed up at my apartment alone. No wife. No son. Just him, shoulders sagging, suit rumpled, the arrogance bled dry from his eyes. Elena, he started, voice gravel thin, I don't know what to say. For once, he wasn't rehearsed. No polished lines, no threats to corner me back into obedience. He just stood there, stripped down to the truth neither of us could outrun anymore. I let him in. The silence between us felt heavier than the years of tension ever had. Finally, he spoke. I thought family meant you'd always give. I never realized it meant we should have given back. I studied him, searching for the manipulation that always hid beneath his words. But there was none. Just a man who had finally met the limits of his entitlement. You threatened to erase me, I said quietly. Over money. His eyes closed, shame cutting deeper than any lecture I could give. I know. And now, I see what we lost. The kettle hissed behind me. I poured 2 cups of tea, set one in front of him. We sat across the table like strangers relearning each other. No apologies grand enough, no repayment possible, but for the first time, he wasn't demanding. He was listening. And that was enough. I didn't reverse the payment. I didn't restore the car. But I restored something else. My place, my boundaries, my voice. They could no longer define me by the money I gave or the silence I kept. When he left, the morning sun slipped through my curtains, soft and golden. For the first time in years, I breathed without weight pressing on my chest. Poetic justice hadn't come with their ruin. It had come with my release. I hadn't destroyed them. I had simply stopped holding them up. And the sound of their empire crumbling? That was just the echo of my freedom.